You know, sometimes a single foreign policy move can tell you more about politics back home than anything else. And that's exactly what just happened. A recent U.S. action has revealed a really fascinating and, frankly, a really difficult political dynamic.
And this quote right here, wow, it really gets to the heart of the whole thing. It comes from a Democratic consultant, Kevin Walling, and it perfectly sets up the tension we're going to unpack. What happens when opposing the person in charge becomes the only thing that matters?
Okay, so before we dive into all the political drama, we got to understand what actually happened on the ground. Let's take a look at how this U.S. operation in Venezuela was first being talked about.
So, from a purely military and policy point of view, the people behind the operation and a lot of observers were looking at it and saying, yeah, that was a success. The general feeling was that it had been well executed.
And get this, on the ground in Venezuela, the cameras were showing something pretty incredible. Not protests, but people celebrating. We're talking about folks literally weeping with what was described as tears of joy at the idea they might be liberated.
And back here in the States, for a lot of people, this was seen as a big deal, a real show of strength and just competence. The source material even suggests that seeing the military pull this off so well was just plain inspirational for some folks.
All right, so you've got a mission that looks like a success. You've got people cheering in the streets over there. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Well, not so fast. Because when you look at the political reaction back home, the story gets way more complicated. And check this out, because this is where things get really weird. For a while now, you had top Democratic leaders, like Senator Schumer, on the record saying that Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, had to go. But now that an operation has kind of moved toward that goal, the tone from inside the party is totally different. Suddenly, it's all about criticism.
And this wasn't just some high-level debate, you know? According to Axios, you had Democrats in really tough districts feeling completely stuck. This quote says it all, right? You can just feel the frustration, a sense that the party's knee-jerk reaction was just to condemn, even if it went against their own stated goals.
So, this is the big puzzle, isn't it? If the outcome is something your party basically said it wanted, and the mission itself was seen as a success, then why all the criticism? Why the division?
Yeah, let's just ask it straight up. What is driving this contradiction? It's a question that really cuts to the core of how our politics seems to work right now in this hyper-polarized world.
And here we go, our first big clue. Another lawmaker, talking to Axios, just lays it all out there. Nuance is dead. The problem, they said, is that the political base demands that if their opponent did it, it has to be bad, period. No middle ground allowed.
And all of this, the frustration, the contradictions, it's not just random. It actually points to a specific political phenomenon, a term one analyst used that just nails what's going on here.
And here it is. The term is Autopilot Opposition. Think about that for a second. It means your reaction isn't about the thing that happened. It's about who did it. It's this automatic, knee-jerk opposition. And that consultant we mentioned earlier? They think that kind of thinking is flat-out dangerous.
So let's just recap the evidence here, right? You've got the consultant calling it dangerous. You have lawmakers feeling totally trapped. You've got the party's past statements completely clashing with their current tone, and it's all driven by this feeling that the base demands total opposition. It all points in one direction, doesn't it?
Okay, so this isn't just some interesting political science theory. No, this creates a huge, real-world headache for the Democratic Party. They now have to figure out how to lead a party that's pulling in two different directions at once.
And believe me, the road ahead is a total minefield. Our source points out that they've got these big events coming up, a full Senate briefing, a debate on the War Powers Act, where they can't hide these divisions. They're going to be right out there in the open. So how do you craft a message that keeps your energized base happy without scaring off the moderate voters you need to win? Man, that is a true political tightrope walk.
And really, that's what it all boils down to, isn't it? This whole Venezuela situation is just one example, but the dilemma it exposes is everywhere right now. In an age that's this polarized, can you ever really separate the policy from the politics? Can we judge an action on its own merits anymore? It's a tough question, and honestly, it's something we should all be thinking about.